Okay. So people, in the previous session, we just discussed about the background of SQL. That is where it is used, why it is used. Okay. And various different things we just discussed. Today, I have lot many things to discuss about it. That is, we're going in depth, more things about SQL. Okay. So yesterday I was just thinking that instead of just giving you some this thing, I just made some notes, and again this I just gave a prompt in Chat GPT. I'll also show you today how to use this Chat GPT for SQL also. Please, people start using these Gen AIs. That is, there are some AI tools, but don't think that I learn this AI tools that everything this chat GPT or any AI tools will do. Make sure that you have all the technical skills, but only for the support you take the AI tools, whatever you have, just take the support. Because if you don't have the logics, then it is meaningless. You just get the code, copy and paste. If it is not working, you'll not know what actually happened. Okay. So many people actually will just tell you that if chat GPT, I know I can do everything. It's not possible like that. So you have to make sure that you understand the concept and then use this for your support. Like what we used to use the Google, right? So we used to use Google previously for getting some contents. So now we are using Chat GPT or any other AI tools for getting the contents. That's all. Okay. So same thing. Even I have used this, but the thing is, the prompt what I given is whatever is required for the class. I gave. I gave me a very nice article. It gave me. Nowadays 75% to 80% of the materials, articles, or you see any blogs or whatever, it is being done by ChatGPT. When you go to LinkedIn, everyone have become trainers, everyone have become influencers. They just go to ChatGPT, copy something and paste it. But if you ask them any question, they don't know what to answer. Don't be like that. Okay, make sure that you learn things properly and then use these tools for your support. That's all. Okay. Right. So here I'll be sharing this document with you people. It's a very nice, almost some 4 to 5 times I've refreshed it so that we will get the exact content what we need for this particular master class. All right. So we discussed about SQL, which is again same thing, say structured query language. So why it is called a structured query language? Language is nothing but we are trying to communicate between whatever now we are actually communicating by English language. Similarly, if you want to communicate with the system, I have to learn some programming language. In that SQL is actually used for what? It is used for communicating with the right. Now, if you see, it says query. Query is nothing but the question or the command what I actually give to the database. Right? Structured, it has got its own syntax where you have to follow that syntax. I have some examples also for the people. I'll be showing you that today so that the people will understand how we have to structure, how we have to maintain the syntax to create the queries and then run that so that we'll get some data. Done? Okay. Now we learned about it. It allows to create, retrieve, update, and delete data efficiently. We discussed this also. That is, it is actually used for working on the database. So what all we have to do? There are a lot of operations what we can do. Thing is, I can retrieve. That is, I can extract the data. I can insert the data. I can delete the data. I can modify the data. Right? So that is what it is saying here. So this we have already discussed. Now coming to the benefits. This also we discussed in a general way. I'll just tell you about the benefits. Efficient data management. I told you data management. That is very important. When I say maintaining or say managing the data, what the meaning of that? I gave an example, a lot of examples he gave. But as I told, will be storing our files, the project files in different folders, or it can be the songs. We create some different folders and store it. Similarly, here the data has to be managed properly. It has to be stored properly in a proper manner. It has got a object called a table where we store the data in rows and columns. So it will become easy for me to fetch the data. So it is very efficient to manage the data. So what happens is if I want to fetch the data within fraction of seconds, I should get the data. It shouldn't be like I'll take 1 day, 2 day to go and keep on searching. Okay, that's what it says. SQL allows user to access and manage vast amount of data quickly and efficiently. Main thing is efficient rather than quick. See, speed is fine. That's also required. But main thing is accuracy. Even if it is taking 1 minute late, no problem. But that doesn't mean that I have to finish the task fast. I'll give all the wrong answers. It shouldn't be like that. So effective or say efficient. This is first thing has to come for any process. Okay, the accuracy. Then comes the speed, right? But this will manage both. So we are fortunate enough to get some software which will work, faster as well as accurate results. Okay. Scalability. SQL database can handle small, medium, and large scale applications. When I say applications, someone asked, sir, can you teach me how to connect with Power BI? Right? It is another application. I told you, we learn about connecting with various different applications, right? So it can connect with any, see, it can connect with SQL, say Excel also. We can connect that with various different applications. Power BI, Tableau, any business intelligence tools. And also we can connect with the web pages wherein I can store the data. So all the data, whatever you go to Naukri, you go to Book My Show or anything you go, you try to fill some, there will be some form, right? When you fill that has to be stored somewhere. Correct? So they use database. I cannot say they'll be using SQL Server or MySQL or Oracle. There are various different softwares, say servers, where they store the data, but database should be there. Okay. So it is very much scalable so that you can use it for a small applications or a bigger applications as well. Okay. Right. Flexibility. Flexibility. SQL is very easy to learn. I'll show you some examples today. Very, very easy. Very easy in the sense like a normal English, but it has to be polished in such a way that it is organized, structured in a proper syntax. I'll show you how to actually write the queries today. Okay, so that people will get an idea what all things we have to do, how actually we can write the queries in a simple way. Okay, all right. Data security. This is very important. You have your mobile, you put the password or the patterns. Why do you do that? So that others should not, because it's your own personal thing, right? So you don't want others to go on. Will you just leave your Android, say small keypad and all, no one is bothered. Even that also they'll lock it. Even that also they'll lock it. Imagine someone actually leaving your iPhone or Android phone. You think it is safe? You have all your personal details, bank details. A lot of things are there. Anyone can easily steal that, right? So to avoid that, what we do, we put some password. Similarly, the data what we store, that's also very important. It is very important. Why? Because the data is very crucial, very important. Okay, so make sure that you choose a software which is more secured and you can keep guard your data safe. Okay, so that the SQL actually provides. Then integration. Integration, I told you, we can integrate this with anything. Say we can connect that with the Java for web page development. Python, we can use this queries in Python also. VBA macros we can use. We can use that in a code. So the scripts, whatever we write the scripts in Python, so we can use this SQL queries. VBA macros. C sharp. There are so many softwares where we can actually use this SQL. So it is very easy to implement or integrate the code what we write for fetching the data, say working on database. Okay. All right. Next, where it is used. I told you various things. It's used in almost everywhere wherever we store the data. In simple words, I'll tell SQL is used. The database is used anywhere you say I'm storing the data. Yes, the SQL is used in a large scale. Say first is web development. Just now I told we actually try to store the fill some details, web pages, right? That will go and store somewhere. So web page development, we use this SQL database. Enterprise application, banking, healthcare, logistics. Understood. So there also say your bank, you go to your bank, net banking and all, you directly go say enter your password and it will open, all the details will come. How? The database. There, the database will not be very small, it will be very secured also. Right? Data analytics. and the business intelligence, reporting dashboards and predictive analytics. Same. I told you, all the business intelligence tools, they can be used in SQL. So we can use SQL there also, right? SQL is used everywhere where the data is. That is why people, I always tell everyone, whoever is entering into this data analytics field, whether it is MIS, business analytics, data analytics, data science, make sure that first thing you understand the data. Most of the people, they don't know how to study the data itself. Simply they'll say, I want to learn Python, they'll start learning Python programming and they think that they are data analysts. No, it is not like that. When I say data, you should also know about the data types. Now, if you ask what are the data types, some of you will not know only. So you should know. Say, for example, I have date format. Sometimes the date will be the text format. You're not able to do the calculation. You know how you shouldn't be knowing how to convert this text formatted date into a date format. Why? Because I need to calculate I have to do some calculation on dates. So sometimes what happens, I have numbers. They are actually in text. You're not able to do the calculation. So you should be knowing whether it is a integer or whether it is a say decimal numbers. So all these things you should know. Suppose I have a data which is not proper, I want to clean it. So data management is very important. Don't just think that, okay, I know SQL server, I know everything. No, it's not like that. You know SQL server, but if you don't know how to handle the data, waste. Okay. That's why always make sure that you are good in Excel. Excel actually gives a lot of, say foundation for understanding the data. And after that, you learn anything, any software, so it becomes easy. Okay. Right. Cloud computing. Here again, cloud-based SQL database. Now you have Azure, okay, AWS. There are so many. Say even Google also. They have all these cloud. Cloud is becoming more popular nowadays because they want to, make everything like a server kind of thing. Say for example, now in my office, if I want to implement the server, it'll take a lot of. I have to spend a lot of amount. Okay, the maintenance. So many things are there. Cloud is very simple. They'll have a server space somewhere. We can just, pay some amount. I'll get some server space. Everything is maintained by the cloud, the people who own that. Say it can be Microsoft, it can be AWS, Amazon, or Google. There are so many now. IBM. They have their own cloud. They will give us for rent. Say, we can take it like a rent. So they will give us, say, it will be like 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, however you actually have that contract or whatever. So we can have that space, we can use it however we want. So there we can use this for cloud, SQL as well. Okay, right. Next, we have some terminologies. Let me just discuss about this. Apart from this, there are so many other. I'll also tell about that. Say, for example, when you take this SQL, SQL means structured query language. In that, there are more other things to understand. Usually, SQL means we need to have a database where we try to fetch the data. Okay, so yesterday we learned about what is data. That is, data is nothing but it's an information. Then we also learned about database. It is collection of organized data stored electronically. Okay, so database, nothing but we are just making a soft copy of whatever data we need to store. But in that database, okay, I am not storing the data in the database directly. In that, we have various different objects. So what are those? We'll have table. Table is the main object where I can store the data. The table is nothing but an object which will have rows and columns. Understood? The tabular structure, rows and columns. In SQL, we call it as fields. The columns are called as fields. The rows are called as records. Keep this in mind, okay? The columns are called as fields and the rows are called as records. Database, under that we'll have table, under that we have rows and columns, right? Okay. Then we have something called as primary and foreign. So what is primary key? I have a column and that should be identified unique. I'll show you this practically, okay? I need to have one column where it is identified unique. It should be uniquely identified. That is called as primary key, where I'll not have blank values, where I'll not have duplicates. Easily I can recognize. I have a table, employee table. Employee, every employee should be identified with a unique number. Which number we'll use? Employee ID. Every employee should be given an employee ID. So that you'll have to think about. Then foreign key. Foreign key is nothing but the key which actually refers another primary table, the primary key in another table. Okay. Then we have index. This index is nothing but it will be like numbered. The record should be numbered internally so that we can fetch the data quickly. Okay. Then constraints. These constraints, whatever I told about the primary key and the foreign key, that has something called as constraints. What is the constraints? Understanding this constraint is slightly confusing. I'll tell you what is the constraints means restrictions. That's all. Say rules apply to enforce data integrity. I'll show you with some simple example. I'll open one Excel file and I'll show you what this table is, what is the column, what is the record, and then we'll understand about the primary key, foreign key, and also I'll tell you about what is the constraint. Okay. See, let me just open one Excel file to make you people understand this concept very easily. The complete database I'll show you. For example, imagine I have one employee table. Okay. So now tell me what all fields we can have. Employee ID, employee name, employee age, employee mobile. I'll just general things. I'll just employee address, email, and we can also have date of birth. Correct? Right? So these are some of the simple information, general information. Now, this employee will be appointed and he will be assigned a project. Now, the project, there can be many projects in the company. Many others can also work on that. So what I'll do, I'll create one more project table. And here I'll say project ID, project name, project start date, and say project end date. Okay. Right. Now, this is also a master table. But now here, what I'll do, I'll try to create one table where I can assign this employee with this project. Okay, the projects. I will have one more table, EMP project, where I'll say employee ID and I'll say project ID. That's all. That's enough for me. These two things are enough for me. Why? Because this employee ID is getting all the information from here, and this project ID will get me all the information here. Suppose if you think that this start date and end date is not, static, but we keep changing, you can shift to another table also. No worries. Just to make you people understand, I'm just using this simple table. Now, in this case, this is a table. This is a table, and this is also a table, right? So when I go here, if I keep this something like this, okay. Now this is a table, and I'll store all the data here like this. Fine. Now if you see this employee ID, EMP001, EMP002, EMP001. This is wrong. Why? Because employee 001 is already assigned to someone. I cannot keep assigning it to every now and then, again and again. I cannot create the duplicates. Done? Understood? This is one rule. Second thing, here I'll leave one blank, say EMP005. It cannot be blank. It cannot be blank. So how it should be? It should be something like this. Unique values. Understood? Now let's come to this project table. Let's say I'll take this project. I'm not taking all the, I'm not storing all the data here. I'm just telling you how actually it should be. Now the project ID, say PRJ001, I should have unique IDs. Okay, right. Now we understood that this is a table, this is a table. where we have the unique IDs, the information is stored such a way that it should have only unique IDs. They are called as the master table. Now what I'll do, I have this project details, right? Say EMP project. Now you just observe, I'll just put it here only. Okay, employee ID. Now just observe, I will use employee 001 and here I have assigned 0. Okay, now this employee has been assigned 3 projects. Done? All of you understood? Okay. Now let me go here. I'll say 007 and I'll assign project 008. Is it correct? Why it is not correct? I'll ask you people only. Tell me one by one. First, I'll go with people offline, sorry, online. People online, I gave an example here of a table, master table, and I also gave some assigning the project for employees. Now tell me this employees 007 and project 008 I've assigned in the table. So do you think this is right or wrong according to the data what I have? Now I have up to employee 005, the projects are up to 006. Is it right or wrong? People online, you can answer. People online, you can message. If you're not able to unmute, you can message. Now you can answer. Why? Okay. People online? Nobody's answering. Okay, fine. Anyways, let me just tell you.
Yes, sir.
If yeah. Anybody to answer? Because it's more. Okay. Right. So let me give you the answer. You just observe employee 007 is not there at all. Can I assign a project to a person who is not at all there in the company? No. This is called as the data integrity. That means here I have some name, say employee IDs. Here I have some project IDs. Say when I'm connecting these two tables, the IDs, whatever is there in this particular table only should be taken. I cannot take any other IDs. Okay. This is one thing. I cannot insert. I cannot insert an ID which is not available in the master table. Done. This is one thing. Now, I have this data. Can I delete this person? Now, let's say employee 001 is worked on some project. Now we resigned. Can I delete this data? He has resigned. Let's say employee has resigned. Now he is no more in the company. Can I delete it? Why? Question is, why can't we delete? You just observe employee 001 is available in the this table. That is, we call it as transition table. It is available in another table because this ID is referring this table. Now I cannot delete this because if I delete this, that means again this will become like employee who is not available. Okay, so this is called as data integrity. That's what I was telling. It is slightly confusing to make people understand. I cannot delete the data which is referred in the transition table. I cannot insert the data which is not available in the master table. This is called as data integrity. So make sure that you will understand this concept next time whenever you're working. You should keep this in mind. Okay. All right. So that's why this foreign key and primary key are very important when you work on a very large or say big projects. Understood? All of you? Okay. Now, coming to, we'll come to that later. Installation of tools like that. think I missed some part. Okay, it's here. Okay, coming to this. I was talking about SQL and I told there are different languages in that. Let me just go here. We'll take this notepad, okay? SQL is a language. In that, we have various different languages. In that main thing, what we need is DDL, DML, and data query language. Okay, this is main thing for us. But apart from this, there are more other languages. See, in SQL, we have DDL, DML, and data query language, that is DQL. What is this? Let me just tell you. I'll go here to this Word file. Okay, say here DDL is nothing but data definition language, which is nothing but it will help me in creating the objects. Okay, in a simple terms, DDL means data definition language, which is nothing but which will help me in creating the objects or working on the objects. Not only creating, working on the objects. What we can do? Create table. Table is an object. Create procedure. Procedure is an object. Create view. View is an object. Create database. Database is an object. So these are all, we call it as the data definition language, which defines the database structures. Say create, alter, drop, or truncate, anything. Now, if you see here, I want to create a table, we can create a table like this, right? So I want to create a table. I can create a table by using command called create. Once we go to this installation, after that, I'll open this SQL server and I'll show you how actually we can use this SQL commands. Now, if you see here, I say create, alter, drop, and truncate. These are actually the data definition language. Right? Next, data manipulation language. Manipulating. Manipulation language is actually a language of the commands which we use on the data what we have inside the objects. Like I have the data in table, I want to modify. Say I want to insert the data into the table. Say insert, update, delete. They are manipulation. That means we are trying to manipulate, change something in the table. That is the data what we have. Okay, inside the table. Data query language. Data query language is used for extracting or retrieving the data. When I say retrieving, if you see here, say I want to select. I have some data. I want to select the data. Okay, then I'll be using this data query language. This data control and transaction control. This is not for us. Usually this is used by the admins who wants to control the database. Say, I'll tell you what it is. Data control language, you know what happens? Sometimes I do some mistake. I would have deleted some data. So to avoid that, what we do is we'll try to, give some, say transition, say, points. What we call it as say, first what I'll do is I'll say save pointer. Say, what happens? At one point, we'll start some operation and I'll say roll back. Suppose is something like undo. Here in SQL will not have undo. So roll back, what it will do? Wherever we have saved one point, till there it will go back. All the operations will be reversed. But once I say commit, everything is saved. Commit means save. Done, or after that we cannot do anything. So all these are done by the admins. Okay. Similarly, we have grant, revoke. This is for the permissions. So I want to grant some permission to someone. So I want to revoke some permissions to someone. Okay. So all these are actually something which the admins will do. It's not required for us. So this first three, whatever we discussed, will be working on that. Okay. All right. Next. I'll show you practically how actually we can work on this. Next is how to install the software. Okay, this is people very important. I'll be sharing this document with you so that you people will get the links. But still, I'll tell you. See, SQL Server, whenever I'm trying to install, we need to install two softwares, two applications you have to install. I'll show you what all you have to install. See, first, okay, first is we'll go here and I'll say SQL Server download. Okay, if you go here, I'll get this SQL Server downloads and we'll come to this website. Just scroll down. Here we'll have Express Edition. Just click on this. It'll download. Okay, it'll be somewhere around some 4.1 MB. But when you go and click on that, again it will start extracting the files. It will start installing. Once this is installed, what you do is you go to another website and install server management. Okay, SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, SQL Server Management Studio. We also call it as SSMS. I'll open this. If you just scroll down, see here, download SQL Server Management Studio. If I open this, this will actually download that particular software. Just click on that, it will download that software. So these two things you'll have to download and then install it. Once you install, then you'll get something like this. Go to start, scroll down, see here, you'll have Microsoft Server. Okay, mine is the old version. Old version in the sense the previous version. So if you want, you can install this completely new. Okay. All right. So if you go here, see, you'll have this management studio. I'll click on this. I'll get the management studio. This is where I'll start writing the SQL queries. I'll show you how simple, how easy it is to write the SQL queries. Okay. Let it get open. Meanwhile, we'll just discuss on this. And next is about how actually we can install the MySQL. MySQL again is very easy. I'll just go here to this website. Okay. Just go to this website. Here we'll get the downloads. Okay, just see which one. Where is that workbench? This one. MySQL workbench. Just click on this. It'll ask for which Windows or Mac or whatever. Just try to take this and say download. Okay, see. Say installer download. Asking for login. See, it's getting downloaded. And then again, say open that and say next, and so it will get installed. You can start using. Here you don't have to again install two softwares and all. It is very simple. It's not like SQL Server. Very simple. But coming to this Oracle is slightly different from installing. I downloaded morning. I was just checking because it's been very long time. I've not worked on SQL, but the Oracle I had downloaded actually. You can see here morning somewhere I downloaded. So it's somewhere on 1.8 GB. Okay. I think I pasted somewhere. So download that. It's somewhere on 1.8 GB. I downloaded somewhere. Then you have to open that, extract it, and then you have to install. So try to install any one of them if you want. But SQL Server is easy actually. To work. I'm very comfortable in SQL Server. Suppose if you think that you want to work on MySQL, please go ahead. Oracle, go ahead. Anything is fine. So whichever software you feel comfortable, please work on that. Okay. All right. So after installation, I just opened this. Let me just go to this connect. Okay. When I open my SQL Server, I assume that you have installed or you're going to install whatever. Say here, I opened SQL Server. When I open this SQL Server, you'll get one small window here and can see the server name. This server name, what I have done is when I'm installing, I'm installing in the laptop itself. When I install this in the laptop, you know what happens? The server and the client both will be in the same system. But in reality, or say in the companies, the installation, the server will be somewhere far. You will not know. It can be within your organization or it can be somewhere outside as well. Okay. So now this is my server name as of now. For you, it might be different if you are working in a company. Okay. I'm just copying this. I'll keep this in my notepad so that I can show this. with other applications as well. This is enough for us to connect. But we have so many other things here which will differ from company to company and the way they have installed it. So you just have to ask your admin how to connect. Now I'll go here, I'll say connect. When I'm connecting this, this will connect to my, the SQL server. Now we have to create our database. Okay. If you see here, there are so many folders. Can you see this database? If you just open this, see, I have so many objects here. All these are my database actually, which I have created. For each class I keep creating, there are so many database. I have to delete it actually, should not keep so many database. But since I'm actually keep teaching so many batches, I'm just adding some databases here. Not required. Suppose if you are working, just keep one database, it's more than enough. Right? Database can be created in various different ways. Let me show you in a simple way. I'll go here. See, on this database, just right click and say new database. That's all. Over. Very simple. Now it asks for the database name. I'll say DB. Now what is DB? Give it in small letters DB. Have this habit of giving the prefix, not just in SQL Server, everywhere in any application you start writing the program or naming the objects. Why? Because I should know what an object is about. DB, database. Okay. I'll say DB SQL. Let me name it as demo. Okay. And I'll say March 25. I just gave one name, right? I will say OK. Now, if I click on OK, can you see this? A new database got created. Now, if I open this again, there'll be so many folders. Got it? These are all various different objects, right? Now, here, if I go and select the C tables, again, there are so many. Again, you click on views. You go and keep on expanding. So we keep getting a lot of things. So everything will get stored. Okay. So all this you'll be learning in your actual classes. Now just to give a glance what actually the SQL is, what all you can actually work on this. Okay. Right. So now we understood about how we can create the database. What I did is GUI, graphical user interface. But we are all interested in learning how to write the commands. Suppose you think that yes, I want to write the queries and then create the database. Let me go here. I'll say new query. Control N will do, or else a new query. I'll get one small page kind of things, a notepad kind of thing. Can you see this? Now what I'm writing the code is data definition language. You see how simple it is. You just have to type create. I told you, right? Create database and then space and say db underscore demo underscore March 25. Previously I gave M25. I cannot have two databases with the same name. Database should be unique. I'll show you what will happen if I try to create the same name. First, what I have to do, have the habit of selecting this and then click on execute. See, that's all. Don't you think SQL is simple? If you understand the syntax, SQL is very simple. Done? Okay. Now, let me create one more database with the same what we already created. Say, create database. I'll make it as M25. Don't you think this is available already? M25. Let me select this and I'll click on this execute. Was it same name? Sorry, 1 minute. I think it was a different name. No. It was SQL demo. I was wondering how come it is creating. Okay. Sorry, people, it was SQL demo. Let me execute now. See, database SQL demo already exists. Choose a different thing. We cannot. Understood? Okay. Now I want to delete. I want to delete this, the database. Let's say drop database db underscore SQL demo. See, select and say execute. But people, Be very careful. If you run this command, all your tables, data, everything is gone. Control Z will work, it will not work. I told you. Control Z undo will not work. Then you have to go to your admin. And suppose if you have given that, the save point, revoke, all the not revoke, the save point, then we have that commit, rollback, all these commands has to be done by the admins. Or if you have the rights, you can do. If you don't have the rights, data is gone. So please be very careful. Okay. Right. So you understood what is data definition language. Now let's work on another DDL, how to create a table. Now, if you want to create a table, first I should know, I should select my database. Now, in my case, you can see there are a lot of database. There are some more than 25 database. If there is something like this, it will become difficult for the SQL to understand on which database I need to create a table. So I have to select that particular table. If you have only one table, no problem. Suppose I want to create one table now. Let's say here in this db underscore demo March 25. I want to create that. So what I'll do, this command is not actually required, but since I have so many database, I'm just using this, say use db underscore demo. This command is not required if you have only one database, but since I have so many, I'm just trying to activate this particular database. Okay. Now coming to this part, that is definition language. I want to create a table. I want to create a table. So what I'll do, I'll go here. See how simple it is to create a table. The commands in SQL are very simple. How? Let me show you. See, create table. Most of the people think that working on SQL is very difficult, or learning all this, remembering all this is very difficult. I'll tell you in a very simple way. Create table, table name. Syntax is create table, table name. Let me go here. I'll say TBL. Now what is TBL? Table. Okay. EMP details. Right. You know what I'll do? I'll say enter. I'll open bracket and close bracket. First is what I'll do. Say here, I'll first create that syntax. Create table, table name, open bracket, close bracket. Now I'll go inside this, enter, and give a tab so that I'll make that the query is very neatly understandable, very neat structure. Now what all columns I need? You know what I'll do? This is how I actually will do. I'll say EMP ID, EMP name, EMP age, EMP mobile, EMP email address. And let's say we'll also have EMP date of birth. See, first I will list down all the column names. Now, next is we need to give data type for this. Why data type? Because every column, when I'm actually storing the data, it should be exact data type. I have age. Can I type my name in that age column? Okay, so what should I do? It should be a number. So each column should have its own data type. Then only I can store the proper data. Otherwise, people will go and store whatever they feel. And when you're creating the report, it will not run. In age column, if you type some name, and in name you type some age, right? It won't be correct. Suppose I want to, write the queries to select the age, it will show you the name. Or sometimes you have a salary and you're trying to add something and something else is there in that, it won't look good, right? So I have to give the data type, employee ID. Okay. So this employee ID will say nchar. Nchar means number of characters. Okay. So there are so many data types. If I keep telling that, it will be like take a lot of time. I will fix it to 10 characters. So I can fix this. Next, employee name. I'll say varchar. Varchar means variable characters. Then you keep varying because name cannot be of fixed length. So it can vary. I'll say varchar. Usually I'll give some 50. And then employee age, it's integer, the number. Date of birth, I'll say date. Mobile will again take varchar. So don't take number here. Why? Because number, there is a limit for numbers also. But mobile number is very big. And sometimes if you go and see, the mobile numbers will be with brackets and things like that. So number will not work. So make sure that you will take varchar only. Otherwise, you can go and select any of the appropriate data type that is left to you, depending on project to project. Okay. I will say some 15, and then I'll say email again, varchar, let's say 50, and address, varchar will say 100. See, done. Now the data type is done. Okay. Next, I'll see if I have to give some constraints for this. If I have to give some, say, primary key, foreign key, and all these things are there. Here, also we have to check whether we have to allow null or not. Some people actually type continuously. That's also fine. But what I do is first, I don't want to miss anything. I'll type all the column names. Usually, what I used to do, I'm very lazy typing. So, what I used to do, I used to take the SOP, what the client will send. All the table, the column names should be there. Copy that, put it in Excel, put everything, put a formula, copy and paste here. That's all over. The advantage is no mistakes will happen. If there is a spelling mistake of any of the column names, no one can come and blame me because I copied and pasted. There is any mistake, directly it will get escalated to that SOP prepared, so they will get caught. Okay, then I'll say, it's not my problem. What was there, I just copied and pasted. But still, sometimes what happens. Say, for example, the mobile number, this will not be there. So we can correct it. It's not that it's a document or something, but it should be same everywhere. Now, if I do one mistake here, everywhere I have to take the column name same only. If we correct somewhere, we'll get the wrong results. Okay. So you should be very careful about this also. All right. Next, whether it should be null, not null. Usually for, null values, you don't have to bother. Not null only, we have to bother. Say, I'll go and say not null. So not null means, you cannot say leave it blank. You have to enter some values. Null values, leave it. You don't have to give, say, don't type null, not required. By default, it is null. Then this one, okay, this one will say not null. The next, mobile number, not null. Rest all will just leave it as is. After this, the comma separator. For everything, I should give comma. Okay. Yeah. The last column, leave it as is. You should not give comma. Last column. See, my table is ready. Now I'll select this and I'll say execute. See, simple. Very simple actually. Okay. Right. Now, this is with the command. Suppose I want to create this by GUI. I can go here, go to that particular, which is that, say, refresh. Demo, this one, right? We created tables. Okay. Select the table, right click. Right click, and here I'll say new and I'll say table. Okay. Now I'll go here. I have the column data type. Same thing. I'll go here, say column name, employee ID, data type. See, automatically it will come. So here, employee name. See, forget about this. Employee age, employee address. See. Okay. Same thing. What I wrote the code, same thing is available here. Now I'll go here, say nchar. Okay, fine. Then here it should be varchar. Click on this. See, there are so many data types. So whichever you feel it is fine. I'll go here. See, I'll say varchar. I can change this if you want. I can go here and I can change. Say employee age integer. Say int. Somewhere it will be there. Yes. Employee address. I'll say varchar.
You can also type if you want. Varchar, I'll change to, see, like again, null, not null. Say allow null values. Say here, allow null values. No, it should be not null. I'll leave it. Say employee name, allow null values. Age, allow null values. Okay. Now here, I will close this. It lasts to save. I'll say TBL underscore EMP details. Why? Because again, I cannot have two tables with the same name. I'll say okay. Now we just observe. See, I'll say refresh once. Can you see that? Now, if you want to check the columns, go here. See the columns, whatever columns I've created, right? Now this is GUI. What I've done. See columns, right? So likewise, the data definition language we can actually now next part. Suppose, yeah, this- just checking if I missed anything. Okay, these are all finally will work on. We will discuss on that. Suppose I want to take the data. Now I don't have the data, right? Just I've created the table, right? I want to fetch some data. I want to work on the data. I want huge data inside my SQL so that I can start working on it. So what I have to do here, let me minimize all this. I will try to import the data. My importing, I can do it from any different, data sources. Let's say I want to import the data. I'll go here, and here I have the tools where I can import, say, yeah, see, SQL Server, import and export. I'll just click on this. It will give me one small dialog box or wizard, whatever you call. Okay. The wizard SQL Server, import and export wizard. Now I'll say next. Okay. In Excel also we have this kind of, nowadays if you go to any application, you have this kind of wizards. You can easily import the data, right? Now I'll go here. You see here it says data source. What is data source? Remember yesterday we discussed about it. Data source. Source means from where we're getting the data. I'll go here and I'll select Microsoft Excel because I have the data in Excel. Suppose if you think you have the data in CSV or text file, you can select that application. You can import the data. Now here, I'll take the Excel path. I'll say browse. Let me go and see. Uh, okay, let me select this only. I'm not sure what data we have. Okay, I'll select this Excel file. I'll say open. And now I'll say next. Okay, where is my destination? Where should I take the data? I'll go here, just scroll down. Here I have this SQL Server native client. I'm taking this data into SQL Server. Now here it'll say local. Now my server is in local. I'll just leave it as is. I'll not go and browse because if I open that, it'll take a lot of time. I don't have any other servers connected. I'll leave it local, but this should be changed in your company according to your server. Now, if you go here, it says Windows authentication. Yes, it lasts for the database. I'll go here and I'll try to search for my database. So my database was what? TB underscore demo underscore March 25. This one, right? Okay. I'll say next. Then it asks for copy data from one or more tables. Say next. I have so many tables here. Let me select one of the tables. Let's say I'll select this. Next. Run immediately. Finish. Just see, it's trying to connect, trying to import the data. Say data are imported. I'll say close. Done for my database. I just took some data. I'll go here now. And then let me just refresh once and see database. Let's go to that particular database. tables. Can you see this? Orders. My data is available now. The table automatically will import the data. Along with that, if you just go here, see all the column with their data type, everything is taken automatically. Even the size, everything. These are columns. But where is the data? Let me tell you. Okay. Now we'll try to work on data query language. I want to get the data. I want to see what is there in that particular table. So the simple thing is select command. See how simple it is to write the SQL queries. Select star from. Select star from. What is the table name? The table name is orders. DB underscore demo is what? Database. Don't get confused with database and table. Now I want the data from table. The syntax is select star from orders. Okay. Let me select this. Spelling correct. ORDRS. Okay. Execute. See. All the data from that particular table is imported. Extracted. Sorry. Not imported, extracted. Now you might ask, what is this star? Star is a wild card where I'm taking all the columns. I want only specific columns. Then what I'll do, I'll go here. I'll say select from orders. Okay. Now you might be thinking, how will we get the columns? Usually what I do is first I'll say select from orders and then I'll go inside this. Now we'll try to select which columns I need. Let's say I want region, comma, state, comma, say order date, comma, customer name. Okay. Then sales, profit. Okay. You just observe, select, I gave some columns from orders. The previous example, select star. Star means all the columns. Now, if you see here, I've used the region, state, order date, customer name, sales, and profit. Let me select and I'll say execute. See, I'm getting all the details only of the columns what I've selected. But if you just observe, for all the columns, I just gave the names selected. But if you just go here and check order date, customer name, there are square brackets. Understood? Why? Because you see the column names, they are having space. So whenever you see any column names having that space, make sure that you put that column names inside brackets. Understood? So the SQL is very easy. That's all SQL. Now suppose if you want to filter, if you want to order, for everything there are some simple codes which will be keep added. Okay. So this is how actually you can start working on SQL, learn SQL as well. SQL language is very easy. There are so many concepts that I have listed down here. Say we have something called as database design and normalization. Usually normalization means suppose I have a table. If I'm not breaking that into different parts, it will be like duplicating. Before this SQL Server, MS Access, all these comes, we had a database where all the data was stored in only one single table. There we used to have all the duplicates. So they started breaking the table into different tables. So that process is called as normalization, where that will reduce redundancy, means duplicates, and improves efficiency. You saw that in Excel, I showed you some tables. If I would have created everything in one single table, the project name, the employee name, everything will be duplicated, correct? So we broke that into 3 different tables. Likewise, you have to break the tables. So there are some rules actually, 1NF, 2NF, 3NF. Okay, so there are so many like that. Nothing but how to actually normalize. Okay. Next, we have joins and relationship.
This is when we break the table, again, it has to be connected. Remember the three tables I had, project table, employee table, but they have connected by another table, transition table. That is, we created one more table, that is employee project, we can connect. Okay.
Right. Next, we have subqueries.
Subqueries means a query inside a query.
Okay. Right. Next, we have all some advanced functions. That is, we have Windows functions, then common table expressions, recursive queries. Okay. Then performance optimization. I was talking about indexing. Indexing means we'll be giving some numbers internally, which will help me in fetching the data faster. Okay. So SQL security and database administration, this part is not for us, but this is actually for securing the data. Okay. All right. And these are all okay. So SQL softwares. Yesterday I told you about this. SQL Server, MySQL, Postgre, Oracle, SQLite is there. These are all online actually. SQLite and all is online. If you're not able to install, you can directly go to SQLite and you can start working on it. That also is possible. Then we have Google Cloud SQL, Amazon, IBM, all this. So I have worked on only few of them. You see, whichever is comfortable, whichever you have installed, work on that. No problem. Any SQL, all the SQL works, the language works similarly. Okay, slight changes will be there. And some people actually yesterday messaged, please sir, mention this salary thing as well. So keeping that in mind, I just put this point. But again, this is not the actual salary. This depends on company to company. I just did some, took some websites, searched somewhere, and then I took this. Say you have this glass door, then we have this Naukri, Monster. They have some different ranges. I just took that, collated it, and then took the average and I've taken here. Say entry level, it will be some 3 to 6, then mid level 6 to 12, and 12 to 25 for senior level. I'm talking about the SQL development. Suppose if you think that you are actually having some more experience with all these data analytics softwares, you might get more package as well. Okay. Right. So now someone asked about how actually we can connect with the Power BI. Let me also show that. Let's not miss that. Say,
I told you SQL can be connected with various different applications. Various different applications. Now, suppose we all know that Power BI, I'll go and I'll connect the data source and import the data, but how will I actually connect the SQL server? It is very simple. I told you here we have this SQL server, right? You just have to mention that it will give me which database I need to connect. Then I can take that particular thing. Let me go to this Power BI. Okay, I'll say blank report. And here I have this get data and select SQL server. When I click on this SQL server, you know what happens? It will open one window where I can connect the database server. Remember, I told you, let me copy this server name, Control C, and I'll say Control V. That's all is enough for us. But suppose if you know which database I need to connect, you can directly give the database name here. If you don't know, don't worry. Advanced options. Here you can write the query directly. If you think you know the query, say here, select statement. I have to give here, suppose if I know which database I'm actually trying to connect. But suppose I will go here and I'll say, okay, you just see what this will do is it will go try to connect with that server. Now it will ask which database I need. Remember, just now we created one database. So here I have this table. Let me select this table. This is a table we just imported, right? See, I have the table here. See the database here. Load. Now that will load the data. Now whatever data is there in the SQL server, that is coming. So it is getting connected. And you can start using it.
Okay. Now, if you see, I have the data, I can start creating the reports. Let's say I want to create one report. So this data is coming from SQL Server. Okay. So likewise, there are so many things to learn. Okay, people who have registered and people who are actually continuing will be learning right from scratch with all the commands, from simple commands to very complex commands, which can be used in your Tableau, SQL Server, and also Python. But I'm not sure whether I can explain this in Python, but I'll show you how the SQL is used in Python also, because some of you have already finished your Python, so easily understand. So I'll tell you how to actually get connected with that, so that the people can learn about various different applications. That is how to connect, how to use SQL in other applications. Okay. All right. So let me just speak to people online, and then I'll get back to you people. People online, any questions? How was the session? Quick, I'll give you 1 minute. I think you people have one more class, correct? 12 o'clock. Till 10 minutes. Quickly, people, there is one more session at 12 o'clock. So before that, I need to close this session. So any questions, anything you want to ask? If you're not able to speak, please message.
All good, sir.
Yeah, it was informative, sir.
Yeah, Rachita, thank you. So these 2 days videos, I'll be posting that in the Telegram channel. Okay. So you can download, or you can, I'll put the documents also, I'll post the documents also, you can download that. Okay. Right, people, thank you so much, all of you. I'll
Yeah.
catch you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.